Hello. Let me start off with a quick and simple question. Are you guys able to hear me? Okay. So let me start off with a very simple question, right? Imagine if you would have to rebuild your complete entire data estate, right, from scratch, knowing what you know about AI, cloud, and security. What would you do different, right? And maybe it's not a simple question, right? But the challenges that the customer face today are that they have to use legacy systems that holds them down, and moreover that they are challenged with fragmented data across their estates. And the main concern we see is that it limits them to innovate faster. So today we are going to show you how MongoDB and Microsoft come together to solve these challenges and provide you a biggest advantage for you for using our joint solutions. So good morning everyone. My name is Deven Wagle. I'm a principal cloud solutions architect with Microsoft, and I have Paul here who I'll ask him to introduce quickly.
Hello, yes, Paul Lurie. I am on the MongoDB partner team. I work exclusively with Microsoft on our partnership. So consider me kind of like the technical liaison, everything technical between MongoDB and Microsoft. So I enable MongoDB folks on Microsoft technology, specifically our integrations, and vice versa. I orient and coach Microsoft folks on our technology.
Awesome. Thank you, Paul. So before we dive into the session, can I see a show of hands just to see people are from which industry here? So if you are from healthcare, can you just raise your hand, please? Okay, so I see a couple of people from healthcare. How many of you are from retail industry? No one? All right, anybody from FSI? Okay, so I see more hands from FSI, and then we have a mix of some other industries as well. And the reason I'm asking this is because, as you can see in the session, we are going to touch on retail, healthcare, and FSI industry use cases, and then deep dive on FSI specifically, right? All right, so as you can see, our partnership with MongoDB has evolved rapidly. From launching MongoDB Atlas on Azure in 2019, joining our Microsoft Intelligent Data Platform ecosystem in 2022, and we have strengthened our collaboration in 2023 with a strategic partnership. And let me give you some more details about this strategic partnership. So what we did was, our leaders, Microsoft leaders like Scott Guthrie and Satya Nadella, met with MongoDB CEO Dave, and they decided to strengthen this collaboration. So to that end, Microsoft hired dedicated resources and created a specific team so that we can help grow and expand MongoDB Atlas business. And how do I know this? Because I was the first hire in that team, right? So I'm leading that team right now where we help grow MongoDB Atlas business on Azure. All right, so after that, we also have the partnership had a vision that, hey, we are doing great, but how can we take it to the next level, right? And we wanted to win hearts of our developers. And MongoDB is very popular in the developer community, and we at Microsoft wanted to make sure that our developers have the tools and platform that they are comfortable using today and continue to use whether their data and apps reside on-prem or on cloud. So MongoDB and Microsoft decided to join forces and focus on integrating MongoDB Atlas across Microsoft and Azure services so that we can help our customers innovate faster. So one quick thing on the native integration. So we recently announced MongoDB as part of our Azure native integration. What this means for you is you can create MongoDB organizations directly from Azure portal so that you have a unified billing because you can link your Azure subscription to a MongoDB organization. So it helps you for unified billing for your MongoDB resources. All right, so as you can see, data is the fuel for AI and analytics, right? And the way we have a solution, joint solution is that you can have MongoDB developer data platform, which brings together OLTP, vector search, full text search capabilities to you, and you get integrations of that with Microsoft Intelligent Data Platform, which provide these 4 workloads you can see on the right about AI, analytics, databases, and security, right? So that you can securely develop your applications that are resilient and can be ready for AI. So again, today you could be, I'm assuming you are using MongoDB because you are at the MongoDB conference, but can you just raise your hands to let me know if you are familiar with MongoDB Atlas? All right, so a lot of people are using MongoDB Atlas today. So you can migrate your on-prem MongoDB community or enterprise to MongoDB Atlas, or even use like a net new application on MongoDB Atlas, and it gives you substantial advantages because then developers can focus on development rather than maintenance, and that will lead to agility and scalability for you, right? So, and by leveraging a fully managed service, you can focus on developing products faster and quicker for your end users. And so what it does is like MongoDB offers you unified developer data platform where you can use from time series data, vector search, OLTP, ACID compliance, all that features to you. And it also reduces complexity and sprawl, not only by streamlining your operations, but also minimizing the risk for any errors or inefficiencies in your systems, right? And finally, with the limitless potential of using Microsoft Azure, you can build new solutions and technologies that can provide you growth and competitive advantage. So as you can see from this slide, we have been busy. So we have built many integrations across MongoDB Atlas and Azure and Microsoft services. And again, this is not a comprehensive list. This is all the integrations that we think are more important and we could fit on a slide that I'm showing you here. There are many more integrations that we have with MongoDB today. Some of the key integrations are Microsoft Fabric, Azure AI Foundry, that we have recently added, and we are enhancing these integrations even more, right? So all this is to tell you that you will have a smooth and streamlined experience when you use MongoDB Atlas today, so that you do not need to worry about the integrations behind the scenes, right? It is all, MongoDB is considered like a first party similar to Azure Databricks. MongoDB is part of our Azure native integration, and then we have this deeper integration across all Azure services, from app services, analytics, security, AI, to visualization tools like Power BI. All right, so I wanted to quickly touch on responsible AI. So at Microsoft, responsible AI is foundational, right? Microsoft builds and deploys AI with commitment to responsibility, right? So that we ensure that technology can be used for advantage, right? That enforce benefits for our users. And we have 6 core principles that drive the responsible AI philosophy at Microsoft. The first one is fairness, right? Fairness means that AI should treat every person equitably, right? And then reliability and safety means that the solution is performing as expected, and not only on the current scenarios, but as new AI scenarios develop, the solution is able to handle those reliably. Then privacy and security is very important, and we want to make sure that security is considered at every step of the development of your AI applications. And inclusiveness, that we make sure that people of all abilities are included when you're developing or designing and developing your solution. And transparency means that users are aware of how to use AI responsibly, right? So they are familiar with that. And with accountability, we lead that when you are using, so the humans are in control of the systems, right? And they're accountable for it. So I think these are the principles that Microsoft has built from 2018. And even as AI has evolved, we continue to build on these principles, and we have developed our Microsoft Intelligent Data Platform, which is built on these principles. We have our Azure AI services that rely on these principles. So this all is so that our customers can innovate with confidence, right? So this is all to make sure your data is secure and resilient. All right, so like I said, we are going to talk about 3 industry use cases today, retail, healthcare, and FSI. Again, we are not going to go deeper dive into this. We are going to talk about top AI use cases. Then we're going to double click on a particular use case, have an architecture, and then FSI is where we are going to show you a live demo. So Paul is going to show you a live demo of one of the FSI top use cases. All right, so let's start with the retail industry, right? So as you can see in the retail industry, we have seen that people have, need to provide faster insights to their customers, right? And they need to have dynamic pricing so they can respond faster to market demands. And as well as they need to have sure that they have accurate demand forecasting so that they don't have excess inventory as well as extra stockouts or overstocking of material, right? Because that would erode their profitability. So it is very important that they have to make sure that they are getting all these. And they have to make sure that the real-time operational challenges that they have in stores, that also get addressed very quickly. And to provide chatbots or AI-powered customer service so you can enhance customer satisfaction and customer score. So we will be double-clicking on dynamic pricing use case in our session today. So again, like I touched on a couple of these, but if I have to reiterate, I would just say that retailers need to respond to market demands, competitor pricing, as well as they need to make sure that they are delivering a personalized customer experiences and they are innovating continuously, right? So, and they need to drive both innovation and revenue growth. So we will be adopting a proactive instance here. So, and if you have a generic marketing campaign, that would result in low customer engagement as well as higher customer acquisition cost. So these are typical challenges that we have seen retail industries are today struggling with. All right, so this is a pricing of dynamic pricing that can be used in a retail industry. So as you can see, we are bringing together MongoDB Atlas search capabilities as well as Microsoft Fabric analytics together, right? So what's happening here is like you can use for doing product search, you can get vector search and full text search capabilities by using MongoDB Atlas vector search. And if you have a website and you have users looking for products, they are adding items to their carts, and then they are also making purchases. All these website activities is then stored in an operational data store in MongoDB Atlas. And later on, it is using open mirroring technology, it is sent in near real time to Microsoft Fabric OneLake. So unless you guys are not familiar with Microsoft Fabric OneLake, it is a unified single logical data lake solution for your whole organization, right? So what it does basically is like similar to OneDrive where you store all your data, whether it's Microsoft, PowerPoint, Word, or Excel. OneDrive stores all your structured and unstructured data in a Delta Parquet format, which is highly optimized for your analytics systems. So that way, you don't need to worry. You just store that once. It's a large data lake where it comes inbuilt with Microsoft Fabric. So you store and then you can use visualization tool, tools to analyze data that you stored in your OneLake. And then once the data is stored in OneLake, we are utilizing data science, which is nothing but notebooks pattern where data scientists to play. And then they are using an AI model to do price generation, right? So they're using pricing model that will analyze this website generated data and generate an adjusted prices, which is sent back to the operational data store in MongoDB, and that is passed back to the website. So in near real time, customers get adjusted price based on the activity that is happening, right? So again, we are using Azure OpenAI here together with MongoDB vector search, so that when they are doing vector search in the website itself, under the hood it is using Azure OpenAI service to call the vector search indexes and embeddings that are stored in MongoDB. All right. So as you can see, by providing real-time analytics, you can unify your data and enable dynamic pricing so that retailers can respond to market conditions, like changing market conditions quickly, right? So this will help in reducing the excessive inventories they have, as well as stockouts and burnouts that we see due to improved demands that they get from the real-time insights, right? And by personalizing recommendations and doing highly personalized marketing campaigns, we can generate more revenue growth and customer engagement into our use cases. All right, so moving on to healthcare. So these are the typical top use cases that we see our healthcare customers are using today. So they are using this for transforming their clinical workflow. A lot of these processes are manual today, so they are looking to automate this workflows. And then for care management, personal management, that's another top use cases where you do clinical research, cancer research treatments. They're using RAG patterns and GenAI use cases for that. And then enhanced care management with actionable insights, right? So it's very critical that when the clinicians are working on imaging data, right, they have this, they get the data quickly, so then they can diagnose and treat patients immediately, right? So there's no delay in the process. All right, so what are the key challenges that healthcare customers face today, right? So as you can see that they are having data that the healthcare professionals have to work is that the data is very fragmented and siloed. So it's hard to, it's time consuming to pull that data out to make some meaningful insights out of that data, right? Again, access to images, like clinicians need to have access to data quickly so that they can diagnose and treat problems quickly. So that is a challenge that clinicians face today. And then what we have is actionable insights for care management. So they have large structured and unstructured data. So it is complex to navigate through this data and generate insights quickly, so they can provide actionable insights to their customers, right, or patients for that matter. And due to this excessive administrative burden that the healthcare professionals today face, there seem to be a lot of burnout and excessive administration burden that they have that delays that whole process again. All right. So this is the architecture that we have a deeper dive into YouTube recording that we can share with you. We have a Microsoft booth right here, so I don't have the details here right now, but reach out to us if you want to deep dive into this architecture. There's a Leafy Hospital demo that showcase how you can bring cancer, how you can help accelerate AI with cancer research treatment, right? So what here happening is we are bringing AI and GenAI together to develop, quickly research your cancer data and generate insights for you. So on the top you can see we have a healthcare portal where your healthcare professionals can request for X-rays or mammograms, and that once they receive that will be stored in one lake. And once that data is stored in one lake, we will use our data science, AI-powered machine learning models to do a score prediction, something called BI-RAD score. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with BI-RAD score, but it's used in healthcare a lot. So what BI-RAD score is does that it scores from 0 to 6, and a lower BI-RAD score means that they need to diagnose more, like they need more imaging data, like a biopsy, to determine if there is any malignancy. And if it is higher BI-RAD score, it means that there's a high chance of the cancer being malignant, right? So that is what the model predicts. And then once the model predicts these results, it is again sent back to the healthcare professional immediately in real time, so they can quickly analyze the results and then revert to the patient in real time. And we can take this one step further, right? As you can see in the bottom section of the slide, what we are showing is how you can use a RAG pattern to generate the clinical data that you have generated in Fabric and OneLake. You can use a RAG pattern to embed your own data, so you might have your customized data, so you pass that to the LLM model so you can have more relevant and accurate results generated by that RAG pattern, right? And again, we have a video of this, how this all comes together, so we are happy to share that with you if you are interested in following up on this. Okay, so with this architecture, the challenges that we saw on the previous slides, we are unifying this data, which leads to streamlining of the automation of the clinical workflows and helps to faster treat patients quickly. You are accessing near real-time insights that help accelerate patient care. And with advanced analytics, you are able to generate quick patient cohort analysis, right? That is what is used generally with the patient analysis data. And then you can increase your operational efficiencies by using more of reducing cost by just automating the integration and the processes involved. All right, and finally, let's look at the top AI use cases for banking. I see we have a lot of people here from banking industry. So we will be touching on fraud analysis and detection. That's what Paul will be going a deeper dive into the architecture and demo. But here are some other top use cases that banks today have, where they want to have looking for marketing campaigns so they can enhance their marketing effectiveness. They want to enhance customer responses by providing AI chatbots to them so that they can quickly respond to customer inquiries and queries. And then also they are looking to modernize their lending and mortgage processes, right? So they can deal with them faster. All right, so as you can see, AI has been, is expected to drive significant growth potential for banking sector's pool. And this was a recent survey done where Citi, as you can see, the notes highlighted, where Citi did a client survey where they expected that by 2028, you are expected to add about 9% or 170 billion to the banking sector's growth potential by adopting AI systems. And then again, there was another survey done by McKinsey where they analyzed that how they can improve workflows for financial services. So credit memo automation can drive about 20 to 40%, or even up to 60%, and improve faster decision making for the credit analyst. So this is a benefit that a lot of banks can utilize by developing AI. And then also AI can help with operational efficiencies, and by improving about 14% in AI resolution for issue resolution for their cases that they get from the customers, right? And again, the thing I would like to highlight is not only AI will help you with your optimizing your existing services, but also it can open you avenues for more growth and generate you a competitive advantage of what new AI applications you can support your customers with. All right, so what are the typical challenges that the bank industry face today, right? So it is important that customers immediately expect that the banks track and monitor and report on any fraud activity that's happening on their credit card or debit cards or their bank accounts, right? So it is expected that the banks do this in near real time. And then also they want to streamline reporting, such as know your customers, your KYC, your anti-money laundering reporting, so that it's streamlined to the customers. And basically anti-money laundering enforces that whatever transactions happens in your account, they are legal and come from a legal sources, right? So banks have that regulatory requirements. They have to make sure, and it's one of the highly regulated industry. So it is very crucial that they handle PII and confidential data securely, because it would otherwise lead to financial as well as reputational loss, and then fines and penalties from the regulators as well, right? So it is very crucial that it is all secure. And then we have also seen that to adopt AI, a lot of banks today are in early stages of adoption of AI, right? So they are still a skilling gap they need to prepare themselves into, as well as they need to have a learning curve. And like I said, they have a lot of data fragmented across their estate. So it becomes very difficult to integrate all, so it adds a lot of complexity to the systems, right? So let's look at a particular use case and then see how we can make this easy for our FSI customers, right? So I'll hand it to Paul to continue with the next few slides.
I'm going to use your laptop.
Sure.
Thank you, Devin. All right. Who is ready for a demo now? So what we're looking at here is kind of a very high-level architecture of the demo. So I'll go from left to right. So customer submits a transaction either through various types of transactions, right? Credit card transactions, bank transactions. And what we're going to demonstrate today is that transaction is going to be analyzed in a traditional way. So a rules-based engine combined with some machine language type model, some risk scoring. Those two will be combined, and that's a stage one analysis. Now what's going to be interesting is we're going to throw in an agentic element, right? Everyone's heard about agentic AI. And what we wanted to demonstrate today is how to implement also rules in implementing agentic AI. If there's a lot to learn about agentic AI as I've discovered it, and there's proper ways of implementing it, and there's many improper ways of implementing it. So today we're demonstrating it's not a replacement for a fraud analyst, for example, it's a complement to a fraud analyst. So the stage two that you see here below, stage two will leverage a couple of agents. So we'll have a primary agent, we're actually gonna have a connected agent, and that agent's going to be part of Azure AI Foundry. Those of you that are not familiar with Azure AI Foundry, it's a great platform to very quickly get up and running and build agentic-based solutions. And we're gonna have a couple agents there. We have some tools. We have some custom functions that we've implemented. We're gonna go behind the scenes and see. We're gonna go actually in a deeper dive in a lightning session that'll be after this, 15 minutes after this session. We're gonna go even deeper in the how-to. So the developers in the room who wanna get into the weeds a little bit, we'll get a little bit more detail in the lightning session. But we're gonna call these customized functions that we can then tap into MongoDB for memory. Those of you that have worked with agentic understand the importance of memory and episodic memory, semantic, to be able for your agent to be as accurate and as relevant as possible. We take advantage of vector search in MongoDB. So all of that is going to be illustrated here in the demo. So what we're going to use is, this is a little application that we wrote. It's a transaction simulator. So this is not a real application. It's to be able to surface what we can do here. So we have various transaction scenarios we can do, and then we have customers scenarios that we can illustrate. So if I look at Maria Lang, I can see here, we're taking a peek into the actual document. Those of you that are familiar with the document model know the power of the document model, where we can put this information in the way. So think of this is the customer profile, the customer 360. We have behavioral profiles there. We have usual locations where they tend to use the transactions. So we have a lot of this information in under one, and we're gonna create a scenario, and we're going to do a large amount, so an unusual amount, and we'll run that transaction. And we see that we went through our stage one, but it's proceeding to the stage two. So if we go back to our diagram, what has happened, right? So we have our stage one that ran, but it fell between the thresholds. So below 25 is something we want to go look at. And here, actually, I want to go into into Databricks here. We see that we were able to use Databricks, and we created a model here, and that's being taken advantage. And then to the stage two, after stage one, between that threshold of less than 25 and above 85 of a risk score, it gets approved or it gets blocked. So it went to our stage two, runs against this Azure AI Foundry agent that's living there, leverages some tools, and then queries MongoDB to be able to assist the agent with gathering some information. So let's peek into the agent. This is Azure AI Foundry. And we have these agents here. I have 2 of them. So we're going to focus on our, so we have our suspicious reports agent that we have available. We're going to focus on our primary agent for now. And if we click on that, we'll quickly go through and highlight. So here we have the instructions that we provided the agent. We have those actions, right? We have calculate, network, analyze. We have a connected agent that we can also use to be able to then do a deeper dive into some of the analysis. So we're going to showcase this in a minute. So if we go look at what we received on our stage 2, it was a risk score. The agent came back with a risk score of 63%, and it decided it's suggesting to investigate. So what we created is a little interface here to peek into the conversation that we had with the agent. So first of all, we start with the prompt, right? So this is our prompt that we created. We can zoom into that prompt a little bit. So there's our prompt. And you can see that we set the previous transaction information into it and some of the transaction information. We show all our available tools that we have. So these are all these functions that the agent will leverage, either 1 or 2 or all of them, depending on the scenario. And then, and what we wanted to do is we wanted to tell us about our tool selection strategy. So we want us to educate us on what its reasoning was when it ran its analysis. And then we're also asking it for the chain of thought. So provide the chain of thought, let us know how you went through this. And I want to underline here the similarity search aspect here as one of our functions calls. So this is this vector search that we can leverage that's part of MongoDB. And if we peek in, this is a database, this is the collection transactions. So we vectorize key fields in that transaction, and we created an embedding, and we're using this for similarity searching. We want to find transactions that are similar to this one, and then feed it to our agent for further analysis. So you see that our vector is embedded directly into our metadata, which is quite advantageous. So if we go back to our output here, and then of course we asked it for a format. So this is now what the agent is replying. So it's telling us its chain of thought analysis. It did some risk assessment, its transaction profile, its tool priorities. It's talking to us, telling us, hey, this is how I thought through this information that you provided for me, this transaction. And then essentially the parallel tool use that it leveraged. And then the findings, right? So there was some historical transactional patterns, but there was nothing necessarily significant there. But we had some similar transactions. So we found 5 of them that were flagged as above 74% similar. So that starts putting up some red flags, and that these amounts and unexpected locations. So there's a variety of things that kind of made it surface those red flags. And then it also did a network risk analysis to see if there's any linkages, any network linkages between these, and it found this one high-risk shared address connection. And then it did a sanction screening, went against some sanctions, and there was nothing necessarily significant there. So the decision that it came up with as a result was an investigate. And then there's an assessment summary there. I don't know if you can read that. But there's, while the transaction itself does not exhibit strong red flags, the presence of high-risk matches in similar transactions moderate the network and warrants further manual review. So here, what we've done is this is assisting, right? So this is what an analyst would do. So this Foundry here, and this agent in Foundry, is helping out or playing the role as a fraud analyst to be able to do a deeper dive into those transactions that fall into that gray area and provide some rich sources of information to help out the investigator. So what we'll do is we'll simulate, and we'll go ahead and go through another type of scenario. In this scenario here, because we want to see the variances in how the agent can behave. And instead here, we'll do a new device. We'll choose Natasha, and we'll choose a new device. And you can just see down below what we're doing is we're pushing in a new device here. And then we have, okay, so now we had a 38% score. Natasha had a low predisposition for fraud, so that was good, but it still, for some reason, went to stage 2. And then on stage 2, we got an approve. So now the agent is now giving it the green light. And if we go further investigate the reasoning behind the agent. So again, as you saw, we have our information that we provided, our prompt, and then we just have the chain of thought that as we had before. And then let's go through the findings. So if we look at the findings, again, there was nothing significant on the behavior analysis patterns, and on the similarity search, there was 15 similar, but there was really nothing. They were all low risk, so there's nothing quite alarming there or putting up any red flags. And there was a connection from a network, but it was a light connection. You know, it could have been some type of a relationship there that was really a low risk, medium or low risk. So nothing alarming. And based on the thresholds that we had put here for our agent on an agentic risk assessment, we decided that this transaction could be approved. And of course, it goes to a human being, and the human being would then decide to approve it. But this is telling the human being all its findings, its recommendation, and not necessarily overriding them. Eventually, right, we want to be fully autonomous, but one step at a time. And then for a final scenario, what we want to do is remember we had that secondary agent right there, that suspicious reports agent that does a deeper dive. So we want to see how an agent can then leverage another agent to be able to help. And we have this actions here. So I have these documents, these essentially suspicious activity reports and a policy report that I've added to this agent. And this agent had this code interpreter that can go ahead, and that's that agent there that we're leveraging. It can leverage that code interpreter to be able to dig into those documents and do some further research and send that information back to our primary agent for analysis. So we'll run this scenario. We're going to select Jonathan Brooks. And then we have multiple red flags, right? So we're going to do a retail. It's a high dollar transaction, $4,000, which is much higher than what he normally spends. Unknown city, a new device, so a lot of red flags. So we see that our stage 1 risk was high, but we wanted, because of it was such a concerning type report. So we'll see here, once our agent gets through, we have an escalate. So this had a lot of concerns recording this transaction, so it escalated. So let's see what the agent did in this scenario and how it reasoned through it. So again, back to our prompt, our chain of thought reasonings, and then let's go to the findings summary here. So we found that there were essentially a high risk connection shared address. There was one high risk. There was 9 flagged high risk similar transactions. So there were a number of items here that chose it to then go to an escalate, and we have it set so that if it escalates, then it calls this secondary agent for deeper analysis and then leveraging some of those documents. And of course, I could have gone to another database. I could have gone to a lot more documents. It was just sample documents that we used. And there's our escalate. So now we see this agent providing this information and what its assessment was, and what's its recommendation. So it had multiple red flags, including unusual locations, shared addresses, and it had, and then anti-money laundering. So that's one of the policies that was in the document, and it was hitting up against that policy, saying, hey, as a result of this policy, when we did this analysis based on the patterns that we're seeing with this transaction, we need this escalated. So there's an example of what we can do and the various types of scenarios with agents. What's fun about this is what we built this UI is you can also do additional querying based on the research that it did. So what past suspicious activity reports or cases resemble this current transaction? So we can go and ask deeper questions. And of course, we would have a different type of UI. This is very much a demo UI here that we're showing, but you can see that we're asking follow-up questions. So I pulled up a couple of cases. So there's a case here, and this is what this suspicious report did for us, that agent. And so we have that case, and then we have another one, strategic consultants, another case. So it was able to then find some of those cases for us and give us, again, this agent being an assistant to a fraud analyst, being able to dive deeper and build, because they want to stay ahead of this fraud, and if they have to tighten up some of their algorithms based on some of their findings, they will. We can also ask another follow-up question. So, what type of extra monitoring should we do as a result? So this is an interesting case. What are your recommendations as a result that we're asking the agent? And let's see what the agent returns here. And so focus areas, so enhanced transaction monitoring, network analysis expansion. So these are just recommendations, of course, but just all things that, again, this intelligent agent with its knowledge and the data that it was able to analyze, just recommending to the analyst team what they could do for future type scenarios, or just educating them in some of these fraud patterns. So what we're able to demonstrate today is a combination of the traditional ways of being able to detect fraud, and then incorporating this agentic way now and what agents can do, and a combination of using Azure AI Foundry, MongoDB coming together. The Better Together theme is that we like to share, coming together to be able to provide a solution that could be a practical solution in the banking or financial world. I'll turn it back to Devin.
Thank you, Paul. So hope you enjoyed the demo. Again, this was just to show you the art of possible of what you can start working on using MongoDB Atlas on one hand, and then Azure AI Foundry and Fabric, and then depending on your use cases, you can think about what else we can develop using these technologies, right? So we are running a little short, so I'm going to skip a couple of slides. So again, this is just to wrap up on the FSI industry challenges we saw earlier. So what are the solutions that we showed you? So you can monitor fraud activity, and then with real time you can predict that what are suspicious activities, and that way you can protect your customers from being being a prey for malicious and criminal activity. With risk insights, you are making sure that you are generating like anything against fraud and money laundering. You're protecting your customers, as well as you are improving your security and compliance posture by implementing this real-time risk insights. So quickly wanted to understand, like when I initially touched about MongoDB on-prem, where you have community and enterprise, and we have MongoDB Atlas, which is a fully managed SaaS solution. So we provide Cloud Asset Factory service, which is free for customers to leverage to migrate this data. So we provide you these resources who are trained, experienced in migration. We have worked with many customers to migrate their community and enterprise on-prem clusters to MongoDB Atlas on Azure, and this is free for you, right? So you do not have to pay for these resources. We will come you with a migration plan, migration strategy, and then work very closely with MongoDB on this, right? So as you can see, our CVP for data and AI had this code that with collaboration with MongoDB, we have been able to accelerate customers' AI adoption and faster speed to using AI with Azure cloud platform provider. And then lastly, if you're not using Azure Marketplace today, here is you can take a picture of this, you can scan this, so you get $100 credit on using Microsoft MongoDB Atlas on Marketplace, which is as a pay-as-you-go subscription. And that would say we will wrap up the session for today. We do have a lightning session at 11:45, where we are going to show you how the demo was actually stood up, so that you can follow on that. So this was just art of possible, and the lightning session is going to go deeper dive into how to bring all these pieces together with MongoDB and Microsoft. So with that, I thank you for joining us today, and really appreciate your time, and hope that the session was useful to you. Thank you.